December 13, 1943. Assam, India. The morning was heavy with mist, the kind that drapes itself over the jungle like a shroud, obscuring treetops, masking movement. The air was thick with humidity, the distant roar of rivers echoing through the valleys. At Denjin Airfield, the men of the 89th Fighter Squadron stirred, engines warming, the smell of aviation fuel and oil mingling with damp earth. Crates of supplies for Chiang Kai-shek's forces in China were stacked neatly on the tarmac, and C-47 transports rested under canvas tarps, engines cold, wings glistening with dew. A field hospital nearby treated 63 wounded soldiers, the white tents flickering ghost-like through the fog. Everything seemed ordinary. But ordinary mornings had a way of vanishing in Assam. At precisely 9:27 a.m., Second Lieutenant Philip Adair, a 23-year-old pilot of the Burma Banshees, taxied his Curtiss P-40 Warhawk nicknamed Lulu Bell onto the runway. His aircraft bore the number 44, its olive drab paint scratched from months of combat, its 6.50 caliber Browning machine guns gleaming under the muted sunlight. Adair had already flown 43 combat missions, protecting the perilous hump airlift over the Himalayas. He knew the risks. He had memorized every metric of his aircraft: engine power, ammunition load, fuel endurance, maximum dive speed, stall rates. Today, however, would push him beyond calculations. Through the mist, a formation appeared: 24 Mitsubishi Ki-21 Sally bombers, escorted by roughly 35 Nakajima Ki-43 Oscar fighters, cutting through the haze in layered precision. The Japanese pilots, experienced veterans of the Burma front, were advancing toward Denjin Airfield. Intelligence reports had warned of raids like this one, with attack rates on undefended airfields exceeding 90%. Here, the stakes could not be higher: 14 C-47 transports filled with critical supplies, a hospital treating the wounded, and fuel for operations over the hump, each a potential target for destruction. Adair's Allison V-1710 engine thrummed beneath him. Full internal tanks holding 180 gallons, roughly 90 minutes of flight time at combat power. He calculated. The nearest friendly fighters were 38 minutes away at Jorhat. Standard doctrine dictated that no pilot should engage in combat when outnumbered more than 5-1. Here, the odds were roughly 64-1. Yet Adair pushed the throttle forward. The P-40 responded instantly. Manifold pressure climbed, and the aircraft accelerated to 320 mph. He climbed above the formation, 4,000 feet higher, approaching from the south, sun at his back. The Oscars had not yet seen him. Their attention was forward on the target. Surprise, Adair thought. That would be his weapon. He planned his attack methodically. Hit the lead bomber formation first. Ignore the fighters initially. Break their bombing accuracy. Scatter them. Abort the run. It was audacious, perhaps reckless, but necessary. Rolling inverted, he dove from altitude. Airspeed built to 360 mph, then 370 mph. The Allison screamed at full power. At 800 yards, he opened fire. Tracers arsed toward the lead Sally, striking fabric and metal. The port engine erupted in orange flame. Black smoke poured from the cowling. The formation broke. Bombers scattered left and right, the precision V formation dissolving into chaos. Adair pulled up hard. 7Gs pressed him into the seat, rolling right. From above, 40 Oscars began to descend, a torrent of thin wings and lethal intent. The Ki-43 was one of the Pacific War's most maneuverable fighters, nimble, light, deadly. Powered by a 150-horsepower Nakajima HAL-115 engine, it could reach 329 mph and turn inside the radius of any American fighter. In the months prior, Oscars had destroyed 63 Allied fighters in the region. Adair knew his P-40 was faster in a straight line but heavier. In a turning fight, it would bleed energy. Standard tactics never turn with them. Hit and run. Use speed. Extend away. Reset. There was no room to extend. If he disengaged, the bombers would regroup and Denjon would be annihilated. He had to keep pressure, keep them scattered, even if it meant fighting 40 fighters alone. They attacked in waves. He fired in brief, precise bursts. One fighter's engine vaporized under the impact of 50 caliber rounds. Another broke away to avoid collision. Ammo dwindled. 800 rounds remaining, enough for perhaps 6 more bursts. The bombers attempted to reform 3 groups of 6. They were 90 seconds from releasing bombs. Adair dove again, accelerating to 405 miles, too fast for the Oscars to follow. He leveled at bomber altitude and fired. The lead bomber's engine exploded, wing structure failed, rolling into the haze. The formation fractured. Accuracy was shattered. Even if bombs were released now, they would scatter harmlessly over the jungle. Then the engine began to overheat. The liquid-cooled Allison V2 1710 had been running at full power for minutes beyond safe limits. Coolant temperature climbed past 230 degrees F. Oil pressure began to drop. The engine trembled, pistons expanding dangerously from heat. Green coolant sprayed the windscreen from a punctured reservoir. Smoke from electrical wiring filled the cockpit. Carbon monoxide made breathing difficult. Yet Adair continued. He cut the mixture momentarily, starving the engine, then restored power. The P-40 ran on fumes, friction, and sheer determination. The Japanese formation was now 15 miles out, scattered. The bombers' attack was broken. Adair had disrupted the raid. Turning for home, he faced new challenges. 6 Oscars pursued him, circling, watching, waiting for the inevitable. Oil pressure reached 0. Smoke and heat suffused the cockpit. At 4,000 feet, the right aileron control cable snapped. Elevator cables had been severed. The P-40 entered an uncontrolled dive. Adair had an idea born of desperation and training. He rolled inverted. Aerodynamic forces that had been his enemy now became his ally. The damaged aileron, which pushed the wing down upright, now forced it up inverted. Gravity, combined with the horizontal stabilizer's fixed nose, down trim, allowed a measure of lift when flown upside down. For 11 minutes, Adair alternated between inverted climbs and upright descents, nursing the aircraft toward Naguli. Each roll, each adjustment, a precise calculation of survival. The Japanese pilots observed, unsure, unwilling to engage a pilot whose skill defied reason. Eventually, they broke off. Returning east toward Burma, Naguli Airfield emerged through the haze. Landing gear and flaps were hydraulic, powered by an engine barely producing 40% power. Adair rigged the control stick with his lap belt and manually pumped the gear. 28 strokes. The gear locked. Flaps stayed up. The P-40, engines dead, gliding poorly, approached the runway. At 200 feet, he rolled upright. The landing was violent. The right main gear collapsed. The aircraft ground, looped, spinning 180 degrees. Sparks flew, concrete tore, metal shrieked. Adair climbed out. He was alive. The war machine that was Lulu Bell was destroyed. Pistons fused. Crankshaft warped. Coolant gone. Hydraulic systems failed. Bullet holes scarred fuselage and wings. Electrical systems severed. Control cables destroyed. Yet the airfield was safe. Official reports confirms all Japanese bombers turned back. 0 bombs dropped on Denjon. Allied supply lines over the hump continued uninterrupted. Adair received the Silver Star, recognized for his gallantry and tactical ingenuity. The psychological impact of that day cannot be overstated. One man, under immense stress, with smoke, fire, and carbon monoxide poisoning, maintained control of a machine in extremis. His decision, making under duress, prevented catastrophic losses. Morale among the Burma Banshees soared. This singular act of courage became legend within the squadron. In comparison, Japanese pilots were skilled and ruthless, but overconfidence and the precision of Allied doctrine worked against them. The P-40 may have been slower, less maneuverable than the Oscar, and obsolete above 15,000 feet, but in the hands of a determined pilot, it proved deadly. It was not the specifications of a plane that won battles, but the courage, creativity, and skill of the man at the controls. Philip Adair went on to fly 95 more combat missions, became an ace with 5 confirmed kills, and survived the war. The Burma Banshees destroyed 413 Japanese aircraft in the air and 147 on the ground at the cost of 63 pilots killed or missing. Their insignia, the skull of the Death's Head, became one of the most recognizable symbols in the CBI theater. One man, one P-40 against over 50 enemy aircraft. December 13, 1943, stands as a testament to human courage and ingenuity. History often remembers the machines, the numbers, the statistics. But on this day, it was the pilot who made all the difference. This story, grounded in historical record, reminds us that even in the most extreme odds, one individual's skill and bravery can alter the course of battle, saving lives, preserving supply lines, and inspiring comrades. Philip Adair's solution, his calm under unimaginable pressure, left an indelible mark on the annals of aerial combat history. If you loved this story and want more history that shocks, inspires, and motivates, subscribe to Rising Warfare, like this video, and explore the incredible tales we uncover. More amazing content is coming, and trust me, you don't want to miss it.